everyone. I'm playing some Assassin's Creed Shadows, doing a little bit of commentary doing these anomalies in this game. The reason why is to take advantage of the Riptides crossover project. There are two crossover projects in the Animus Hub that straddle two different games. These games in question being AC Shadows and the recently released Resynced. So there is a cynical way to read this, which is that because a player is rewarded for engaging with two different games, they are also implicitly punished for not engaging with both of them. It depends on the value of the reward and how much the individual player values that particular reward. In my case, I really value present-day lore and the fast acquisition of it, so I can see how some resentment is possible. One thing I have to train myself to get back in the habit of is actually using shadows to hide in, which is, to me, one of this game's greatest qualities. And it's something that I think was very well received. If you're hidden in a shadow, you are pretty much invisible. There's very little anyone can do to you. You only have one health bar. You only have one health bar. Okay, well. I'm gonna close this. Yeah, just do remember that you can kunai people through these doors. I have disrupted enough of this area that I kind of want to be careful here. If care is even possible at this point. Heightened Senses is just such an insane ability. Anywho, I think it's time for us to leave. Since the DLC Claws of Awaji released, some anomalies, rather one anomaly in every batch, will always take place in Awaji. Which means if a player does not own the DLC, they are barred from participating in that activity and barred from taking that progression. Which again, there is a cynical way to see this, which is that you're kind of pushing players to spend money, you're kind of pushing players to engage with this other content in order to get more of something that they care about, right? There is also the other perspective, which is, wow, a lot of you aren't there. Spear guys are bad news. I just kind of categorically recommend dealing with them right away. Okay, this is a bit of a lot. What's going on? Why are there so many of you? There was an anomaly that I did do in Awaji, but OBS had reset my audio settings to defaults, which are not actually assigned to anything. So there was no game audio and there was no microphone audio. So that is footage that you will never see, alas. The corrupt entities in question are these guys. Heightened Senses is just crazy. It's probably my favorite skill in the game. My other Tonto skills are just based around instantly killing 1 or 2 straight enemies who happen to detect me. Just doing whatever it takes to immediately shrug off a combat state as fast as possible. Stabilize corrupted castles is an interesting objective, so it's my understanding that at some point in Shadow's lifespan, the devs added these corrupted castles, which are basically just, yeah, distorted, glitched castles. I think they can only occur if you've already cleared the base castle already. And so what this kind of allows you to do is reuse and repurpose these castles, give them new rewards, up-to-date rewards, basically provide the player another reason to engage with these spaces, which I think are the best level design in the game. When the game first launched, myself and most of my friends, we would exchange stories and talk about this game with each other, and we would just be like, yeah, like, I'm not even playing the main story. Like, I'm just raiding castles because they're stealth playgrounds that are all pretty expansive, they're pretty interesting, right? So I think it was a smart move to have corrupted castles be a thing eventually. And I think the other interesting thing they do is they provide players, if I'm right, with a repeatable source of gold, something that allows you to save a lot of money and basically fast forward and fast track your gear upgrade progression, which for a very loot-centric, like build crafting heavy game, I think is quite strong and quite appealing. This one gives 3 gold, so we're going to do that one. Though I also know that they give tokens, which are used for mods domains. I assume that was a function added later, because I don't think domains existed at the time, like corrupted castles were in the game. Probably no need to mess with that servant. Right, let's look around for Daisho. Because finding these with Observe is the most efficient and most comfortable way to do so, they are a compelling argument for like leaving enemy health bars and Observe tags on. Because otherwise, you're going to be spending a lot of time crawling around these spaces looking for them. And a common complaint from players is already that Daisho are very like spread apart and like hard to find, right? So you don't want to exacerbate that further, I don't think. Buddy, I think you turned around just a hair too slow. For what it's worth, I'm not playing with Guaranteed Assassination on. I have just built my damage, because I think that in this game it's fine, like it was designed relatively painlessly, whereas in Odyssey, that shit drove me up the fucking wall. Yay for progress, I think. The thing about these RPG Assassin's Creeds as well is that due to kills granting experience points, it's kind of always better to kill people than not to. In theory. It's just, it costs time. So from that perspective, maybe it's not, but you know, that's a decision every player's gotta make for themselves. Funny enough, I think I have the bug that turns off my recruits, and I'm not actually sure how to resolve that. Otherwise, I would be using my recruits here. Nice ragdoll, homie. This guy's facing me. How will they respond to this situation? They have to reposition now because they can't open this door. So this might actually be fine. Question mark? Props to this AI for being able to see me through that little crack. And I guess the level designers and the geo artists as well. Because yeah, in some games that little crack might not actually be physically there. Like it might treat the entire door as a solid object, right? Sorry, I'm just like murmuring random shit to myself as I play. This is how it always is. I must say, like, as far as pure gameplay is concerned, this game's post-launch updates have been very, very good to it. Which is not something I can say for most of these games, to be honest. I think the only other one I praise that highly is Mirage. I think I speak for everyone when I say that Valhalla's post-launch was possibly one of the worst video game things I've experienced, maybe ever? I don't know. It was just not it, trademark. And for all the problems I have with Shadow's story, which are many, I think in terms of pure gameplay, I always enjoy just coming back to it and playing it. Reset my heightened senses. Heightened senses alone has been such a compelling argument for just boosting my cooldown reduction on skills in this game. Because unless something changes, I'm at a point in my progression where I simply do not need more damage. So whenever the game is like, hey, do you want more health? Like, do you want more damage? I'm like, not really. I can one-hit basically anything in the game. Again, there's always a chance this changes. I think Awaji is pretty tough. There is a boss I just fought that was like reasonably challenging. I mean, it pushed my Yasuke a little bit, but I don't think it was like prohibitively hard or anything. But when it comes to just like stealth flow and smoothness, being able to activate heightened senses more times per session would dramatically boost my enjoyment. So yeah, just ability cooldown is something that I am angling toward now. This is something I think is very common for me in games. It's a behavior and a psychology that you will see me kind of reproduce in basically every game I ever play, which is just that I really like using my actions a lot. What's that? Need to stabilize 2 more. But in order to do that, we need to fast travel out of here. And in order to do that, the fastest way is usually to just climb to the top of these. Since when you climb to the top of these, it's technically no longer a restricted area, and you can fast travel wherever you please. Seasons were a pretty interesting mechanic in this game. The fact that they refill your scouts, the fact that like you are awarded the resources you had them loot in the earlier season whenever the season rolls over, that kind of stuff. I think it's one of those examples of a phenomenon in gaming that we don't actually see so much anymore, but just this idea that technological improvements allow devs to do different things with actual gameplay, right? Like the whole, oh, what does it matter that like you have these insane weather systems and insane light and shadow and able to, you know, express and manifest darkness very evocatively, right? Well, in this game, like all of these things do actually have mechanical implications. Now, whether those implications are great or not so great, and by great I just mean in terms of scale, like how much impact they have, that's another conversation entirely. Like I think light and shadow obviously has massive implications. Weather can as well, like fewer of these people are able to hear me because I'm in like a rainstorm. When I traveled here, after the season changed, this castle is no longer corrupted. So I guess it changes on season rollover? That's interesting. Is this such complete shadow that he can't even see the corpses? Goated? Right. How the hell do we get up here? Oh, would you look at that? A stockpile building that is actually open and I don't have to find a key to. Crazy. Almost never gonna see that in this game. I think corrupted castles are a really genius concept, and when I think about how every batch of Anomalies seems to use them, I can't help but think they should do the same for Black Flag Resynced. Like, they should add corrupted warehouses or corrupted plantations that you can, like, restabilize by raiding them, right? Like, that would make a lot of sense. You should have to do, like, I don't know, for a big credit payout, obviously, you should have to do, like, 2 or 3 every batch. I think that would be really enjoyable. Granted, the nature of Resynced as a game makes this kind of system, like Anomalies in general, synergize a little less smoothly with the base gameplay, simply because Black Flag's progression is nowhere near as long tail as something like Shadows, where, you know, it is an RPG, like, it has a lot of progression. It has New Game Plus, you know, things like that. Granted, Resynced seems to be about to get New Game Plus as well, so hey, you should implement corrupted warehouses. I think a lot of players would appreciate that. Certainly more enjoyable as an objective than, like, procure deer hide, you know? Smoke can be a great way to reposition dudes into bushes or behind walls and stuff, I find. Heighten the senses. Hopefully that kills. Does. That is also a lot of wealth. There might be a daisho near there. They typically tend to congregate around sites of valuable items. But don't quote me on that. Oh, no, what do you know? There one is. Yes, when in doubt, just look at where all the shinies are. Right, so this could be an issue. Normally, if I had my recruits, I would just have Oniyuri, like, sleep these guys. But, unfortunately, we don't have that luxury here. Just going to use this heightened senses reset to get the hell out of here. And by get the hell out of here, I mean probably just kill this guy. And then kill this guy. And then disable this bell. And then climb up here and kill this guy. Because I do want that wealth. Really, bro? Rogues love stockpiles that are unguarded and unlocked. Oh. Anazono Castle. This one's pretty small. Honestly, let's just do this with Yasuke. Finding these guys is gonna be somewhat tricky. Actually, I lied. It's gonna be super easy. I'm not concerned with most of these enemies. If they want to follow me, that's their funeral. Dude. Lots of you love unblockables here, don't you? Got some gold, which is useful. Got a lore file, which is imperative. What does this even do? Pickpocket enemies on grab. That's kind of cute. Hitting an unaware enemy with a shuriken puts them to sleep. The effect on these is actually really cool and very, very strong. Because it converts shuriken, which are not individually powerful tools, into something just completely absurd. Especially because bank shot. Shuriken can now bounce between targets, right? Like, if these two are paired, if I throw a sleep shuriken at one enemy and it ricochets to another one, do they both fall asleep? It'll be interesting to test out when we get it. Corrupted Castle certainly take a long time. I think that just running around finding all the daisho, especially in the bigger locations where your observe range does not encompass the entire area, can be a bit time consuming. But yeah, let's check out this lore. You have that look on your face, the I'm a freaking genius look. That's because, drumroll, I'm a freaking genius. That's not really in question. Can we narrow down to specifics though? Tomorrow we need to make our move and I'm still not sure what move we're making. Okay, let me set the stage. We can't touch the core directives. Those bastards have locked them in tight. The security protocols will be lowered so we can let her out. So the plan was, introduce a paradox. Let her split off another version of herself, right? This is how the guide happens from ego. A dissenting voice, as it were. Yeah, and let them fight it out. Problem is, one consumes the other one. That means whoever is left is polarized, right? So we either win big or lose big. Either she wholly embraces the directives the council have instilled in her, or she rejects them. You're relying on the inherent humanity she learned from scraping every genetic memory in the AI to tip things in favor of fairness and justice. You'll recall that I don't have the faith in humankind that you do. Well, you'll be surprised to learn that I actually listened to you. So I ran those tests again, giving it an insoluble paradox. But this time, I said it couldn't destroy its opponent, because that's not how it works in the real world. When you can't win an argument, you don't just get to kill the opposition. I mean, I can think of examples where, so I said, work out the paradox and live with them. And they argued, and they couldn't find a compromise on the paradox, because it wasn't something you could compromise on. Guess what they did next? I have no idea. They had a baby, right? This is the Eagle. The Eagle is the son of the two AIs, is the son of the guide and Ego. What? They couldn't agree, so the solution was to create an entirely separate entity that had no preconceptions, no core directives, nothing. A blank slate. And both of them started feeding data into it. Oh my god. It's not what we're taught, it's what we learn. They made a baby in order to let it decide. That's how we do it. You can't erase the core directives, but if you instill a paradox, the next generation will be born without them. Kids rejecting their parents. What's more human than that? You just have to hide the code in the main build and then release the AI before Abstergo can find what you've done. It's brilliant. Why, thank you. Now all I need to do is to be able to access the core server room tomorrow. Yes, for that I suppose you need the cloned keycard I got from Lothian. You're kidding. You actually did it. Come here, you beautiful grump. I see. That is really, really cool. I think it's really interesting then that the Eagle does ultimately align with assassin ideology. When it had the freedom to choose, it chose the ideology that insists upon freedom to choose, essentially. That makes sense, like it's self-propagating. It is as self-propagating as it is self-destructive, you know, as Desmond Miles commented on in Valhalla's audio logs. It's cool, it's interesting. Alrighty, well, thank you so much for hanging out, and I will see everyone in the next one.